study of inflections, Dan.
Yeah. Ah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Hello.
Hey everybody.
Welcome to Tavern Talk, the Way the Leafs spoiler-filled talk show based on the epic fantasy series The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. I'm super great. Here I am. Now you can see me. Hey, my name is Ryan, and joining me today are my co-host brother Dan the Man, Tom from Dragon Mount, an actor extraordinaire Jansen Lashley Haynes, and Beth Doman from I Do Be Beth Doman YouTube channel and Twitch channel, or what is that site?
Whatever.
I know. What do you call it?
Video gaming.
If you have a Twitch, do you have a channel, or is it, what do you call it when you like my Twitch?
It's a channel.
It's a channel. All right.
Yeah.
Or just Twitch. Or Twitch.
Yeah.
Twitch.
I got it. All right. Well, we are here to talk about way more interesting things than just that. I hear an echo. Is that me somewhere? Must be. Hold on. All right.
No, it's me. Sorry, it was my phone.
Hey, thank you.
Sorry.
Hey, wouldn't be a Tavern Talk without some sort of technical difficulty. We are here to talk about Season 2. We wanted to, as we get ready for WatCon and prepare for all the fun panels we're going to be in and watching, we thought it'd be a good idea to give us give you guys a little taste of what we think is going to happen, what we hope will happen, and we're going to have a special emphasis on what cold opens we might want to see and what origins we hope to see in Season 2. And I'm excited to add origins because I swear some of my favorite television ever
awesome.
are those origin shorts.
I love the art from them. They're so cool.
So I had a really good time thinking about this topic. I hope you guys did too. Let's get into it, guys.
Well, let's define our terms real fast. Last season, all 8 episodes of the Amazon series had a cold open, which is when the show goes right into a scene without any fanfare beforehand. No credits, no anything. It just jumps right into the action. There were 8 of them. And the origins were these animated stories that kind of gave the background to a lot of the world of Wheel of Time. Right?
Yeah.
Did I describe that correctly, Jansen?
Yeah.
Cold open?
Certainly did. Very,
Okay.
very poetic.
So we're hoping that Season 2 is going to have the same. We're hoping that there's going to be origins for each episode, and we're hoping there's a cold open as well. And so that's what we're doing. We're putting our prediction Nostradamus hats on and seeing what we can come up with.
Jansen, when did cold opens become a thing?
Cold opens actually have always been a thing. In fact, I actually think, devices that you could say that Charlie Chaplin started them because they didn't even really have, credits per se back then. And he was the original master. But what I do love about what we're talking about today, it is, cold opens and these origin stories are some of the best storytelling you can do to help drive along, a show that has so much content like The Wheel of Time. And they're going to be able to do a lot with those, especially Season 2, which segues me into some of mine. Well, I really hope that they do a lot with the shadow as far as cold opens this year or this season.
Specifically the one that I've been wishing for since before episode 8 came out. It has to do with the shadow. You want me
I guess before we jump into it, Jansen,
Okay.
the people want to know how your trip was.
Oh yeah.
Real
Oh, Mike.
fast.
My trip to Tokyo was life-changing. It was one of those bucket list experiences that, you might never get again in your life. And I took my family. They had such a blast. And my wife, who's the greatest coordinator on earth, completely had it. So we had just an awesome, awesome time with seeing as much as we could in 8 days. My audition there with the award-winning director,
Roman Polanski?
Yeah, I was going to say.
his name is Sakamoto-san, who was an inspiration for Quentin Tarantino, and he's worked with Martin Scorsese and a lot of other people, and it was a life stream. Even if I don't get it, and I don't get this, the lead in this film, just the experience alone was, so overwhelmingly awesome. I'm so happy, and thank you guys so much for asking about that. Really, really awesome.
Well, I'm already planning as soon as you get this role that I will be your executive assistant at scale. No big deal. I will stay with you and guide you through the perilous streets of Tokyo. I know people there, so it'll be all good.
It's great to have a familiar face, especially a fuzzy.
I've never gotten to get out of the U.S. other than in Mexico and Canada, but I'm super jealous of you getting over to Japan. Did you? Yeah. The one thing that I always I really want to see at some time in my life, the bucket list thing, is something that's really old. So did you see any of the cultural stuff?
Oh my God, yes. We went up into the old country, Mount Fuji area.
Yeah, okay.
And we got to pick peaches from the foothills of Mount Fuji and take pictures.
Millions of peaches?
And no, everybody got to pick 2.
Were they free?
Yeah, they
cover
were.
the can.
But we also went to the palace. And that was amazing. We saw literally, we saw the samurais bunkers and they're where they were all training and all those things, and it was amazing.
Jansen, did you happen to find that small part of the wall where if you climb that tree you can get over into the garden?
That's
I looked for that because I was but the moat was too big, and it was just amazing, and it was such a clean city. There was no garbage on the city at all. You didn't see any homeless people at all. In fact, finding a garbage can was actually pretty hard. It was.
Were there robot bathrooms?
There were not robot bathrooms, but there were robots, which were very, very cool. There were cars driving themselves. There were so many different cool things. My 8-year-old son had an anime frenzy, so it was so cool.
That's cool.
That's so awesome.
That's cool. Really, the real story is that he just got jumped into Yakuza, so he is now a captain in the Japanese Yakuza, so don't mess with him when you see him at a con.
That was so cool.
I want to thank our friend MaTsDaGger, as always, the king of our chat, the muse. We pretty much just do our show just for MaTsDaGger. And you guys are all invited too. So he needs a cold open of Matt being healed and yelling in the old tongue.
So is that even going to happen since he lost the dagger?
It's
not around him in proximity.
Well, maybe not in this season.
No, I think it will happen because I think they're going to use. Remember how Moraine told the Lady Amelisa to contact the tower about Matrim Cawthon? I think that this is where they're going to catch up with him in the tower, them doing things, because I think they're gonna think something like he is able to channel, so they're going to he's gonna go through the gentling ritual or something's going to happen, and he's gonna think that that's the reason why he has so much luck. But they're going to do that. That's how they're going to catch up. I believe it is. That's what I think.
Well, yeah, they're definitely going to be in the tower, but are they going to can they do the healing without the dagger?
I don't know. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
I kind of thought Maureen healed him a little bit when she took it from him. I thought that was kind of like them doing that scene.
She did the same thing in the books. She kind of gave him a little bit of a refresher in the Queen's Blessing in Caitlin in the books as well.
Yeah, but they didn't. They didn't talk about him needing another healing. That's what I know.
Not in the show. Yeah, not in the show.
They didn't talk about it. So
well, Alberzier suggests that that might be a cold open. Is Matt actually being captured by the Red Ajah there?
Yeah, I definitely think that's a very good assessment. I think that's a really good guess. I think that's going to happen.
So what we've seen with the cold opens, in my opinion, have been peripheral. It hasn't necessarily been. So we had the hippies get captured and killed. Leander. We had what else? We had oh my gosh, we had I don't know, but we didn't have so like there's what other cold opens were there? I can't. My mind went blank.
Oh, there was a Logain at the castle.
All right, Logain. Yes. All right, another good one.
That was
there was Swan's childhood.
Blood Snows,
the best cold opener in the history of all shows ever.
So it's peripheral or historic things instead of So I wrote a list. of 8. I don't know if you guys have like any list per se, but I want to kind of run through a couple of them and see what you think.
I definitely can I share one?
Yes.
All right. This is actually what I'm hoping. I was hoping for it for episode 8 of season 1, but I'm now hoping for it for episode 1 of season 2, or at least somewhere. So, Pat and Fane, the scene with Pat and Fane sitting around the campfire with the Dark Friends and the Trolloc and the Myrddraal, where he's like talking to himself, kinda, and also talking to the dagger. Specifically, that's from the books, but in the show, what I hope they do is kind of have him sitting there talking to himself, and as he's talking to himself, they interpose scenes of him talking with flashbacks from what he was doing in season 1, because we know he was kind of like lurking in the background in a lot in season 1. So like I'd really like to see him like scenes from his perspective when he was watching
his POV.
everybody.
Right.
And then it ends the climax of the cold open ends with like the Myrddraal doing something to piss him off, so that he then like violently reacts to the Myrddraal, and then at some point in the season we get a flashback to that violent reaction, and then we get to see this.
Oh yeah.
The Myrddraal nailed to the door. So like maybe the actual.
Yes. Okay, so I forgot about this. Okay, that's Perrin. Obviously now we know that Perrin got skinny
with Elias.
So I have it on my list as well, saying Fane and the dagger, and maybe a pet Myrddraal.
Yeah, man. To see him actually do that on camera especially with the way they made the Myrddraals look so non-human, like horror movie monster-esque. Oh, that would be
right.
Well, see, I think you're right. So cool. I also think that Fane already has the power to take out them. I think he's never going to be the Fane that he was in the books, where he was scrambling around for.
Okay, I was just going to get to that. Gone is that amazing scene of him like a homeless person crawling up the side of the walls trying to get into Faldar, right? Yeah, like some sort of like lizard person. But yeah, like I was going to ask everyone, what do you think about this? He's now kind of like leveled up so fast, and it seems like it's clear that he's powerful, right? And
the Myrddraal are going to do what he wants to do right now. He was in charge.
And then at the end of episode 7, he basically lets Perrin live, walks away with the dagger, and it's like the gig is up. There's no more peddler. There's no more Pat and Fane in disguise tricking anybody. It's like he announced himself there, which is another kind of big change. What do you guys think of that?
I think it's a big change, but I also think they did some things in there to catch up with the books. Like everyone knew in the books that Pat and Fane was a Dark Friend by the end of book 2. You know, so they're going to know that everyone knows now. Perrin knows out of his own mouth. He's admitted that he's a Dark Friend. So that's something that that does parallel the books.
Would it be cool to get like a cold open of him in the ways, like dealing with Mash and Shin? Like, what was that encounter like for him? I think that'd be really awesome.
That's what I'm hoping for. Is just like him in the Two Rivers killing those sheep and getting the Trollocs, and then him in Tarvalon or traveling in between, and then him in the Borderlands, him maybe in the Blight, him taking the dagger, and then we get him in the ways on the way to Shinar. Oh, that would be.
You think he killed the sheep?
Yeah, that's what that was supposed to be. You know, him. I always so like it was laid out in a pattern, like a dagger. I mean,
the dragon fang.
A dragon fang. So I always just supposed that was him kind of marking the two rivers for the
Okay.
Trollocs in the merger.
Oh, like a beacon somehow.
Yeah. I think that's true. I think,
Fascinating.
You know, I never even thought about that. That's
Neither
actually
did I.
that's a good. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
I mean, who else would have did it?
Well, I
Yeah,
thought he
they-
did it with the Trollocs and just like decided just to leave it to scare people or something.
It's
I thought
he's a Banksy. He's like the Two Rivers Banksy, Ryan.
he's
I
just
think I have a very, very cool one that I think
Real fast though, Beth, do you think that Fane will be in a cold open?
Probably. Probably. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't.
Okay.
I kind
Okay.
of hope that I kind of want the cold opens for season 2 to explain a little bit more of season 1.
That's why
Well,
I
that's, that's exactly what the cold opens do. They give exposition without actually giving exposition. That's the whole purpose of the cold opens, right? To give us the backstory and let us know what to fill in the gaps to explain why we are where we are in the present.
Yep.
In every episode, they all tied into each episode. So
there's something else that they did in a lot of the cold opens. They put them in places that, and they showed scenes that weren't in the books. And that's why, you know, and I think that they do that because it like I said, it helps a lot with the storytelling, so you get some background. That's why I believe my number one cold open that I think they're going to have is going to start in Cold Rock's Hold. And I think that we're going to a really awesome 30 seconds of the eel culture. Guys shine, like the wise ones, even like, you know, the clan chiefs. And I think we're going to get Avienda, Amis, and I think we're going to hear this is going to be right before everyone is starting to make the journey to Shondare outside of Roydion, and they're going to say something to each other like the Shido are on their way too, something like that. But it's going to be, I think they're going to do that with the Aiel. I honestly believe that the Aiel are definitely going to be a cold open.
I have it in my notes here an Aiel cold open, but mine involves either a wise one or a clan chief returning from Meridian. I'm thinking the clan chief will see the dragon, we'll see like you know, whatever, and him becoming a clan chief is what I was thinking. Aiel wise, that would introduce Meridian, that would introduce the dragon on the arm.
I'm trying to go along with the timeline though, and I think at this point in the books, some people have already left for left the Threefold Land to find He Who Comes with the Dawn, right?
It needs to at least explain who the Aiel are and why they're there a little bit.
Yeah, because aren't they? What was his name? Uriel, that they met on this journey that they were making for the hunt with Ingtar, and you know, I believe his name was Uriel. Yeah, who came out, and so they were. So there's already Aiel, and of course, they already found the one in the cage with Matt. Actually, so we know they're already on this side of the dragon.
He himself was almost a cold open.
Uriel is
him just popping up and saying, "You want to dance? Okay, no. Karakan? No. Okay, bye."
How do we think they're going to introduce the concept of the Aiel like backstory being Tuathon?
I don't think we'll see that this season.
Yeah, that's not
this season.
Yeah,
that won't be until the Road to the Spear, and that's when Rand actually goes through the columns.
Yeah, that's not going to be for a bit. It'll be the same way they did it in the books, probably within the Rudian Terangrio.
Huh. I can see it just being a cold open, just a little backstory, and there you go. And I honestly like. I'm wondering if we're gonna have portals and Ruidian and gateways and all of that confusing stuff.
I'm sure we'll have Meridian. That I think is pretty clear cut, where there's like this, you know, forbidden city that you go into. I think that you know, like an escape room or something. Well, you know, that'll be Meridian.
You know, speaking of places that they're going to be in this, you know, one of the places that they had in the books a lot was the Stone of Tyr. You know, the columns in the Stone of Tyr. A lot happened in Roydion. That was a meeting place. That was a place of a lot of dreams. So that could also be a cold open as well, with Bilal in the stone looking at that.
I honestly think they're going to delay Stone of Tyr until after he comes back from the IO Waste.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That would make sense.
I think they might move the scenes from Kyrian and Couladin and Kyrian and stuff like that when they come back out of the IO Waste. I think they might move that to Tyr and have him come out of the IO Waste into Tyr and get Kalendor.
Do you think that a cold open could introduce us to Kalendor and the stone?
Absolutely. That's exactly.
I think that's what Jansen's saying. What do you, Tom and Beth think?
No, I think Tyr's too soon. Anything that has to do with Tyr, and even I think we're gonna get the episode we get introduced to Avienda, we will get something of Thail in a cold open because they're gonna have to explain who she is, right? Whether or not we already have met Aiel before Perrin comes across her, because they're all split up. They're all in different places now. So we might have a group come across the Aiel in one place, and then Perrin has his own encounter. So it might not even be all inclusive in one solid single episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm in the camp that we're not going to see Tyr in season 2. Hard to believe in that.
Yeah.
Although we saw it in the cold open with Swan as a little wee chap.
Yeah,
we saw it in the background.
In the background.
Yeah,
in the background.
Yeah, not as a story piece though.
All right. Well, hey, no, I'm putting $5 down that we get some Tyr.
Okay.
I believe.
All right, guys.
See some Tyr.
I'm gonna give my my most hopeful one. Is we're getting a cold open of Tam Althor deciding to go get the Two Rivers folk. I think that's going to be a thing where he's just maybe Abel. I don't know. Abel's kind of a dirtbag.
Yeah, well, he
could.
This could be his little
Tam and Jay's Conger.
Yeah. It could be a nice little redemption for him to leave the Two Rivers, get sober, try to go help his son.
Oh, I'll guarantee you that Abel does have redemption. The actor that plays him, he's basically typecasted as a actor who gets redemption in every single one of his.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh my god, guaranteed.
That's funny. You don't think they're going to just?
I hope we do that.
They're just going to be supping on Tam's apple brandy. He's going to relapse so fast. All right, good. Oh, I'm sorry. Overseer is asking, is the Hunt for the Horn ceremony Fael going to happen?
I said Hunters of the Horn. I was just about to say Hunters of the Horn and / maybe Fael.
Probably.
I think so.
But the thing that makes me sad about that is no Tom to interact with it.
Yeah,
you're right. No, yes. It's really hard. Thanks for the depressing reminder that Tom is not in season 2.
Yeah,
well, that's why I think Tom may be right about Tyr, because I think Tom's essential for Tyr. So
that's a good point. Yeah.
I also just have a little side note that in one cold open, people are either going to be playing Stones or Fox.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he froze.
I think he's breaking out of it. Break out of it, Dan. Break out of the
How you're taking him. Come back.
Dude, this is a long shot. It's a long shot, but do you guys think we could see a cold open of the first Myrdrill being born?
The first?
Yeah, with like Agenor and everybody saying, "What the hell is this?" Like the army starting,
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
The first Shadow Spawn.
Yeah, I think that'd be very cool.
Yeah, I mean, we know that they're going to be combining Forsaken because there's not a full 13. So, God, my hope is that they put they beef up Demandred essentially by combining Demandred and Agenor and Belial and making DeMandrid have like Agonor's backstory of being like the geneticist and stuff, so that when they show DeMandrid, we get to see Agonor's backstory. So that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
Because DeMandrid's backstory is like weak and boring. It's just I'm jealous of Lews Therin, and that's pretty much it.
It's boring. Yeah, it's pretty boring.
I'm hoping that we get a cold opening about each Forsaken. Not necessarily all in season 2, but I hope that at some point, like, we get the making of Lanfear.
Becoming Lanfear. That's how I have it.
Yeah, becoming Lanfear. Nice.
I mean,
so if we have one from the second or the first age or whatever, or that age, do you think that'll be it? Becoming Lanfear, you think?
I really hope so.
I think that will be an entire episode.
Yeah,
Reese.
That would make me happy.
Yeah, I really hope we get to see how fucked up they are too. Like, you know, like they show us. Yeah, they show us kind of like they did with Lews Therin and Padra or Pedra or whatever her name is.
Latra
Pose or whatever her name is.
I rarely get the shit right, Dad.
Right. Because you're like Lotta Pose. I know.
I remember.
She's really a Bond villain. A Bond character is what it is. But like, you know, like an Age of Legends or War of Power or War of Shadow, whatever you want to call it, scene where we get to see how horrible the Forsaken were. So it like legitimizes why people are so afraid of them.
The issue I have, Jansen, with you, with an entire episode, is that they set the precedent of using Old Tongue. So that would mean that these people would all be having to speak Old Tongue, because that's what Lews was talking, right?
Yeah,
I think it will do that. I think that they'll jump from times to times, like for what they're doing now and what they were doing then. I think an entire episode about the Forsaken. Definitely.
The easy way to do that though is with a foreign language. Like if you start the episode in the foreign language, like in the Old Tongue, and then you like within a minute or two you fade into English. So it's just kind of understood that everyone's speaking the Old Tongue, but instead of having to read the subtitles.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that would piss me off.
Yeah, I think it would too. I mean, Lews didn't do it
in movies and TV shows.
No.
All right, so here's one that I'm convinced is going to happen, is that we will have the Shanshin. So here's my my ideal cold open is a flashback to a young Tuon. There's Shanshin in the palace, in the Empress, may she live forever, and we see exactly what the Damane are. And Soldam, and she explains the danger of channeling women.
Yeah, I think we'll get that before we get a lot of the other ones, considering what I've already seen in the previews.
I don't think we're going to see Tuon in this season either.
No, not Tuon.
Too early for Tuon.
Not even a baby, not even pre.
She wouldn't be relevant right now.
Yeah.
It's like Swan.
Well, you don't want to.
Swan was relevant. Swan was a major character in more than one episode.
You don't want to introduce a new character, like especially someone that's so important, on like, and not even introduce the real version of her yet.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
That's more of like a after, like, you know, the episode after Tuon is introduced, or the episode that Tuon is introduced in. You know, like that would be the episode to do that cold open.
Right.
I believe we will have something about Arthur Hawkwing, Pendragon. I had put it as an origin, but do you think it could be a cold open?
Could be
origin. I think origin.
You know, yeah, I'm more likely an origin of him, of what he did in the Westlands. You know, maybe besieging Tarvalon or something, and then, or him sending his son across the ocean, and you know, then making the Shanshin.
Here's the one that I'm surprised none of you guys have brought up yet, that I'm pretty sure we're going to get a cold open of Elida.
I had thought about Andor. Yeah, what is Elida going to be doing? I thought about Andor, but I wouldn't know what unless she has a foretelling or something.
Well, we know that Elaine's going to be in the next season, so you know they're on their way. at least to Tarvalon to bring the daughter heir and her brothers for training. And I think
I think that'll just be in the episode.
We know she's gonna be there already, kind of. So
definitely, but after that, I think there'll be like a cold open of Elida thinking about Swan and Moraine back in the day.
So we're up
Possibly.
to. So if we let's say if we guarantee the Elida one and a Age of Legends one, at least touching on the Forsaken or the War of Power or something like that. And do we like the Pat and Fane one? We want to include that one too.
I do like.
I think Pat and Fane will be in there.
So that's 3. So that's 5. That leaves 5 episodes. That we can get cold opens for.
How about Loyal leaving the steading?
Yeah, we can.
That's what I was going to say. That or.
Ooh, that's a good one.
No, exactly. Loyal leaving the standing is a great one. I would like to add that to the list.
Did you have any that you were thinking about, Beth, that we haven't mentioned yet or touched on yet? Or any characters even that you?
I would like to see a cold open in the tower, like a cold open about the ter'angreal, the accepted ter'angreal. Like maybe we get something of Moraine's accepted test because that is in New Spring, so maybe something along those lines to kind of give a little bit of background on the testing what the Aes Sedai have to go through, or what novices have to go through to become accepted. Or maybe that would actually almost be a better origin maybe than a cold open, because it can kind of go into explaining what a ter'angreal is, and because we found out what an angreal is in season 1, right?
They haven't really touched on a ter'angreal,
right. So maybe there's going to be like more history from the tower, kind of like where they did with the difference between Sidar and Sidene, and explaining different ter'angreal, and the accepted test ter'angreal is kind of like mentioned.
Okay.
No, I like that. Hey, Tom, add to the list the pattern, Fane, and the ways. Do you have that in the list?
I wasn't making a list, but I will.
Oh, I thought you were making it. Make a list. And then
I saw your thumbs. 3.
Hey,
I made a mental list.
Make a list, and I'll tweet it twice.
5.
All right.
How about
I would like to say one real quick, if you don't mind. I would like to see a cold opening that shows how dark friends become dark friends. Maybe we see Pater become a dark friend, or Millie Skane even gets introduced early on.
I was actually just looking for the image of the dark friend social, because we do know that that's going to be a scene at the very least. Where they had the big table. I have an image somewhere on my computer. I'll find it and we could put it up at some point when I grab it. But there's we had the image of them all of the people dressed in black sitting around the table. So that's got to be the dark friend social, or at least part of that scene. So I would hope for that to be the dark friend social to be the cold open. That would be awesome. Or
that seemed like the Dark One's Last Supper, though.
Well, it was a circular table, so it was more of like a King Arthur round table type thing. Knights of the Dark One.
What do you guys think of the Bail Doman cold open?
You know how I feel about Bail
Doman.
Oh,
Beth lights up like
you do be loving the Bail Doman.
Yes.
I mean, don't you think you could see a cold open of him with like driving just captaining the boat and like just shit starting to happen with the Shanshan? Like, I think he's a really good way to introduce an episode of like this.
Do you think they'll do you think they'll have the alieners talk like that? If I do be talking like this, the pirate, do you think they'll
remember even had basically cold open in the books when he was thinking about when they were trying to get him to travel east. Remember, it was pretty much a cold open, and he thought about like all the people that had tried to give him money, and instead of going east, he went west, and that's when he met Eganin and everybody.
Okay.
I think
so. I wouldn't mind if Bail Doman was Jamaican. No, honestly, it sounds jokey, but I could see it. It would.
I think they made
give them all
sea folk.
Caribbean accents. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, and that could be that Doobie.
Yeah, I think they're going to save that for the Caribbean guys for the sea folk.
The in the air, yeah.
Will we see the sea folk in season 2?
I don't know if we're going to see them at all, but
I don't
definitely
think
not
we'll see them
season
at
2.
all.
Yeah.
I think we'll see them.
The last thing I put on here is a Rand's dream. Do just any dream, just to kind of have him. And I was thinking maybe even I win again, lose there, and I win again, lose there, and like the flicker might be a dream.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we're gonna get it in Portal Stones.
Well, he had so many dreams in the Escher world. Remember the MC Escher world where he was like constantly like going up and downstairs, and then all of a sudden he'd run into Balsamon and like get his hand stuck on a thorn or something. like
and also
remember this Stigmata dream?
Yeah, they're going to be time jumping a lot. We've already heard. So I think that some of the cold opens are definitely going to be our main characters about what they've been through to get to this point. You know, there's going to be a lot of flashbacks with Matt, especially Perrin, I think. There's going to be a lot of flashbacks getting them to where they are. Because remember, it's not going to start off with Rand just leaving Light. You know, they're going to have been gone. They've already have gone through some things. So we have to see what they're going to have already gone through.
Well, Lee Science agrees with that, Brother Dan. Flicker as a nightmare might work really well. Seas Folk were in episode 7. What am I missing?
There were sea folk in episode 7.
I don't remember this.
I thought
I don't
episode
know.
7. They were in Faldara in episode 7.
Wasn't there somebody with tattoos?
Or were they in Tarvalin?
There was someone with facial piercings, wasn't there?
Yeah, but there was also somebody with tattoos on their hands.
Right. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I gotta look it up and see it.
If that was a sea folk, like it could have just been.
Quick addendum. Sorry, episode 6.
Oh, G&G. All right.
Jeez, yeah. Oh no! Now it's episode 5. Okay.
Nolan Garden, disappointed in you, buddy. You're usually on the money.
He's still on the money.
A sea folk killed Steppen. Hot take.
Took the wind right out of him. What other cold opens? Any others that we can think of?
Oh yes, several. I want to see a cold open of Age of Legends. I want to see Ogier building Tarvalon.
That's
after the Age of Legends.
Was
That's
that
after?
Yeah, that would be an origin
after the
for
break-in.
sure. Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, they founded the tower 600 years after the breaking or something like that.
No, okay, you're right. Okay, so the Tamerlane. Do you think it's not a coincidence that Tam-Althor and Tamerlane are the same?
No.
No, etymology has already been
explained.
It's
like an honorative? Okay.
Yeah. The and we know that the Ogier don't pick up stonemasonry until after the breaking. They talk about that a lot.
Okay. Damn it. All right, so
it's okay.
Scratch that. I still want to see it, but I mean,
but Ryan, they've been singing Wood for a long time.
Come on, it's an adaptation. We're just adding to things.
I do have the Ogier in the Origins, so you know.
All right, so I want to see a cold open of the Blood Snow, but from Ruark's perspective, but maybe not the exact moment of Blood Snow, just the whole kind of like Aiel war, and I want to see it from Ruark's perspective.
I wonder if Ruark would be like
I want him to have killed Layman. Did he kill Layman? I'm sorry.
No.
You know what would be a great cold open, and it just came to me.
Let's go.
Is what if we had? Do you remember in book 1 when Elias and Egwene and Perrin get to Rain and Isla's camp and they tell the story of the Maidens of the Spear that died, talking about the seal is breaking, like the
when they were going out of the blight.
When they were coming out of the blight, and they actually went to the Tinkers, who they never talk to, who they never have anything to do with, and they tell them Sightblinder is awaking, and hey Pavara, if they were to do something like that to introduce the maidens, that would be amazing. And they reincorporated the Tinkers in with season 2 somehow. That would be
that would be really cool. That would be a really cool seeing, especially like if we see it after seeing how like awesome the IL are as fighters. Like if we have an episode where like, oh my god, the IL are tearing shit up, they're so cool, they're fighting and it's amazing, and then the next episode's cold open is these IL all like dying and dead and hurt. Like, oh my, what did this?
Yeah, no doubt.
That would be cool.
Can you talk about Origins?
Yes, I want to skip over that, but let's just finish up with chat. Has anyone said cold opening of the board drilling yet? Yeah.
That's one that we.
Isn't that becoming Isn't that becoming Lim? No, that's when
that's got to be a Lanfear one.
That's when she was still mirrored before they really knew what it was, right?
Yeah, because they didn't know what they were doing at that point. But that's like I could definitely see them doing a cold opening for that, but that's got to be like after Lanfear has been introduced, and maybe a season 3 or season, for a future season cold opening. They could do it with an origin as well, though, and just go into a little bit more depth.
Right. Origin does open up all kinds of possibilities. That drilling into the board would take up. I mean, we hear about budget all this time, and $100 million isn't enough per episode or whatever.
100%, I agree with you. I think specifically because of the budget, I think I would rather them do the board drilling as a origin, because
I think that's a good idea.
Right after they drilled the hole in the bore, the Column Dan, the giant floating sphere college, falls out of the sky and lands on a city. Like that would be really difficult to do. Like that would be really expensive to do live action. So I would really love to see that in their artistic, stuff.
Yeah, my origin story that I think that they were going to do, that I almost think that they must do. I hope there is King Layman.
Yeah.
I think
I have Layman Sin, the IEL war, and culture in general for the IEL, or their society rather.
That would
they can absolutely do a Layman Sin cold open in season 2 or in season 3, depending on when, like, just really depending on when they want to do it. Like, if they want to give a little bit more backstory to the IO war in season 2, they could do that. Or if they want to make it like a bit of a bigger deal that the IO are marching back over in mass back into the wetlands again in the future season, whenever they come back, they could do it then too. That would be a great cold open now.
That'd be a good cold open.
Yeah.
I also the best, or this is my favorite one that I've come up with as far as origin stories, would be how a maiden becomes a maiden of the spear. You know, where they just have some generic, maiden woman, IEL woman who wants to become a maiden, and they go through all the steps and show that. That's how kind of like how they did the Ogier. The Ogier wasn't loyal or anybody like that, and it just gave a really good story on how something happens or what they. I think that becoming a maiden of the spear would be an awesome origin story.
Really, anything culturally with the IEL would be great.
Yeah,
right. And I could say I was picturing that exact same thing, Jansen, but then also including Layman Sin and the beginnings of the IO War, and then it ending with the view of Dragon Mount, which is the same thing that that Tam had seen when he picked up the baby.
Yeah, that's a great point in science. Especially if they leave Layman like Maureen's uncle again, like if they keep him a Demandrid, definitely that would be able to flesh out her story a bit more, especially if she's going back to Kyrian. So yeah, for sure.
I mean, if they do that, do you think they'll talk about the fact that Moiraine's Elaine's aunt?
No.
Not yet.
You don't think they do that?
I don't think that's going to be a big deal, because that's never even mentioned in the books.
It's not, and it always struck me as weird. You know, they talk about bloodlines so much, and then they completely leave that out. It's just very weird to me.
Yeah, she would be like a. She would be kind of like what, like a great aunt twice or three times removed at that point.
No, wasn't Elaine's father was her younger half brother.
Yeah, CB is like, I mean, and that's
like
pretty close. You know?
Like a half cousin.
Yeah, I mean,
half brother. I thought Tarangale was her cousin. I don't remember.
No, half sister, half brother. And sister.
they were brother and sister.
So it's just weird to me that, like, you know, you would think, especially when with Galad too, like, it's just weird.
Yeah. It's not weird though, because Moiraine gave up her house and her position when she went to the White Tower. She didn't want to have anything to do with being a Demandred or a Damodred, excuse me. If you remember from New Spring, she wanted to have nothing to do with it because when almost everybody in her house had been killed, she was like, nope. That's why she left the White Tower. That's why she was so keen to get out of Tarvalin.
Yeah, she did use her name. I remember in New Spring too when they were in Shachin. But yeah, that's just they always talk about bloodlines, and somebody would have said something. You know, the only person that says anything about it in all the books is Tom when Moiraine confronts him in the Stone of Tear and asks him to go with Nynaeve and Elaine to Tanchica.
There's a scene also in I think I want to say it's Crown of Swords where Elaine is trying to it's either Elaine or Rand. They're like trying to figure out how related somebody was, and then they're like Rand with Dylan. That's what it was. It was Rand with Dylan. Rand is talking to Dylan to find out how related he was to Elaine, essentially. But he was the way he was asking her was like, how related was Tigrene to?
And it wasn't Dylan. It wasn't Dylan.
Oh, it wasn't. You're right.
Or whoever he was talking to.
It was one of
the Simper ones.
One of Gabriel's toady chicks. What was her name? I forgot. But you know who I mean.
Yeah, one of the ladies.
Elenia, maybe?
One of the random Andorian royals.
Yeah. Aramilla. Yep.
Aramilla,
right. Aramilla. Yep.
One of the minor nobles.
Nomengarden, hook us up. How related were Tarangale Damodred and Moiraine Damodred? Because I really don't think they were brother and sister.
Moiraine Damodred, half sister to Tarangale. I remember Tom says that when they confront each other.
I think it was through marriage.
Half sister.
Tarangale was the nephew of King Lim and Damodred, the son of Dalison, and the half brother of Anavir, Inalion, and Moiraine.
So his father was his brother. Her father was his father's brother. So that's her cousin.
No, Tarangale was the nephew of King Laman, the son of Delresin, and the half brother of Anvair, Inaline, and Moiraine.
Okay.
They have the same father. They have different mothers, but they have the same father.
So
Damn,
different mothers
got around, man.
So that's pretty far. That's still pretty far separated.
Yeah, but I mean, no farther than Elaine and Galad.
And look at how their relationship was.
Yeah.
Right.
And they were raised together though.
She still loved him though because she knew what he did was right. So she still loved him.
They were raised together also though.
Makes it hotter.
Ew.
It's gross.
Yeah, really gross.
Hey, look at me, I'm Egwin. Hey.
Egwin was dipping in all the pots.
Rond! I love you, Rond. I love you, Dad.
I can't get up there.
Rand, but you're my favorite. Rand! Rand, I love you. No, I hate you.
Pants, I hope you know.
Do you think when she wrote the two letters to Rand, one was right-handed and one was left-handed?
I don't
order pants. You're just not seeing it. Another origins that I wrote down was the Children of the Light history. What do you guys think? That one's a controversial one, I think.
I think if Joachim Carradine is in it, they could do that.
I don't think we need to see the origin of the Children of the Light, though.
You mean Lothar Antagor or whatever his name is?
Yeah, I mean, like,
that's origins.
Like they hate channelers.
What about fucking Ingtar? We haven't even brought up Ingtar yet. We're gonna have a cold open with Ingtar?
Well, I mean, if they do the Dark Friend Social, yeah, but he can.
Yeah,
he's
no, but they're all wearing robes. You can't see shit.
Maybe we'll have maybe towards the end, if they stay true to the Great Hunt, where he confesses to Rand that he was a Dark Friend. It could be like that could happen at the end of an episode, and then the next episode could be Ingtar letting in Padden Fane in the Murdral into Falbara,
or him putting the cloak on to go into the Dark Friend Social. Like that's how the Dark Friend Social opens up, with Ingtar putting the cloak and the mask on and then walking into the Dark Friend Social. Any of them, anything that just shows he was a Dark Friend. Oh man, that's one of my favorite scenes in the books. So
all right, here comes a hot take.
We haven't spoken of either, and that could easily be a cold open.
Yeah, I mean,
Ingtar
as a character, I'm not really like in love with. I just like his redemption scene really at the end of book 2 a lot. As a character, I don't know, he's pretty cool.
He acted like a guy who's been sober for 10 years at the coffee shop at midnight, talking really fast. He was really intense.
Well, he was a little bit of a mentor to Rand too, for a little bit.
And Perrin and Matt, everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
So much because he's just a couple of steps below royalty and a good fighter and so
I've never said a bad word about Ingtar.
Pavar, everyone loves Ingtar and no one likes Gawain, and I think it should be switched. Gawain, anyways, that's a hot take. But yeah, Ingtar's a dirtbag. There's not the only cool thing about him is Rand being like the one who forgives his sins at the end. This is a messianic thing where it was Rand's story that he forgave Ingtar, and he's like, "Hey, may the rest in the Creator's hand." And he's like, "Oh, thanks, Son of God." Chop, 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 chop.
He kind of tells him that he can he tells him there's always time, pretty much, to redeem himself, and then he runs off and fights the Shanshan. But the interesting part about his being a Dark Friend to me was always like he didn't see any other way to do anything, and he even says it. He did not think that the last battle was going to happen while he was alive, so he didn't think him being a Dark Friend was really going to matter that much.
Yeah,
but let me ask you. Is it that simple? Is that how you get out of the oath that you make as a Dark Friend? Is you confess and someone forgives you, and then you're no longer a Dark Friend? I don't know how to get out of that. Like, that's my big question.
Everybody got out of it.
Is Ingtar still linked?
No, everybody
I don't think he was ever. He never went to Shao Ghul like Padden Fane or anything like that. The Ingtar always struck me as more
neither did Pater, neither did Dana.
We don't know,
but they were Dark Friends.
Yeah, they were Dark Friends. Yeah.
How do you become okay?
You just go, hey, I want to be a Dark Friend, and then you start doing Dark Friend shit.
Yeah, but every single Dark Friend that sought redemption all died within the hour of them getting redeemed. Every single one. From Varen all the way down, if you think about it. The ones that didn't care didn't, but the ones that all sought redemption all died within an hour, and that's actually part of the oath.
What? Yeah, but not all of them. That's like the oath that they swear isn't actually binding in the way the binding oaths are binding to the Aes Sedai, like Black Hawk.
But it breaks the 3 oaths, so I thought it was binding.
Well, Ingtar isn't an Aes Sedai, so it doesn't really matter.
No, but how does it break?
Yeah, but I understand that people stayed true to that law, right? As far as the ones that sought redemption. If you think about it, you can't tell.
Boz.
They didn't die within the hour.
Bosnos.
Oh.
Bosnos.
Well,
Oh yeah, that's a crazy
yeah, I guess.
notion. I never put that two and two together. I have we don't need to get into it now, but I have a feeling that Dark Friends are kind of like not as complicit as we think they are. Like I think that
a huge portion of them had no idea. Several Dark Friends specifically say in the books, we never thought that the last battle was going to happen in our lifetime. There's a couple of the Sheriam says it, like
Sheriam says,
so like several of the Dark Friends there.
But for them to even beat Dark Friends in and of itself, I think they're like compelled more. I think they're more like threatened, cajoled, mafioso style, like rather than. I think the amount of people who are just kind of signing up on their own is, I would say, like less than half. Hot take.
I would disagree with that, but there's definitely a good portion of them.
I think the mechanics.
Well, Ryan is taking extortion into account.
There's a lot of that
with family.
When they threaten your family with the death that never ends, I think you just do whatever they want.
Yeah, but you'd have to make the decision on your own to become a Dark Friend before any of that came into play.
Exactly.
Everybody who becomes a Dark Friend becomes a Dark Friend willingly. Their motivation may be different. It may be for power. It may be because they don't necessarily think anything's ever going to come with it and they want to dabble in the evil arts or whatever. But they are all
what about
motivated.
the whole like 13 mirror draw like together can flip you?
That's only
That's
for
for
channelers. That's only for
channelers.
And when you think about every Dark Friend channeler that we had a POV from, a significant POV, Alviarin, Leandrin, Sheriam.
Well,
Talonvor, sad Talonvor.
With those 13 mirror draw though. Oh, go ahead, Jansen.
Yes, thank you. Pavar's on my side.
Can get turned to the shadow. Some non-channelers, the talentless, they got switched. The talentless.
The talentless. Yeah, I mean, like most people,
like me trying to juggle,
like talentless hacks.
Aiel that went to the blight to fight.
Oh, the male channelers. Yeah, the male channeling Aiel. They're all channelers.
They're all channelers.
Not all of them. No, they weren't. All of them were
I
not.
thought they
Even
were.
Rand went with them sometime. Remember? They were not all
the
channels.
ones with the red veils with the sharpened teeth.
The ones
they're
who
all
sharpen the
channelers.
teeth.
Yeah, those are the male channels that were like sent to the blight to have it out with the lion. Were they just all so sad that they didn't have a home anymore that they chose the dark, or they all were like swept up in a big old compulsion ring?
No, the talent was for the Aiel that went with those guys, and they were turned somehow. They couldn't channel.
You can't.
Talent.
I mean,
why would they call it talentless? They don't have any. They can't channel.
I don't know what you're talking about with talentless. I don't remember this.
I don't remember the talentless either.
Well, let's get back to the 13 mirror draw. Mirror draw don't channel, so I don't think that just because you could channel, it matters. I think it's a big deal that even MaTsDaGgerX get turned, but I think that any 13 can change any human.
No, I can tell you specifically that's incorrect. Moraine specifically mentions that the danger to channeling, and a couple of the Aes Sedai throughout the whole series actually mention the one danger to being a channeler, to channeling the one power, is the danger of being forcefully turned to the shadow, and specifically only channelers can that be done to.
And it's Sheriam who says that in The Great Hunt when Egwene comes out of her accepted test, and she said in one of her accepted tests they're bringing 13 mirror draw. And Sheriam says to her, child, this is something that is a closely held secret, and not even everybody in the White Tower knows about this. And 13 mirror draw can unwillingly, it's one of the weak points of being a channeler. That is their vulnerability.
So we assume that cannot happen to a non-channeler.
We know it can't.
Yeah.
It's talked about several times.
I thought.
And it's not the 13 Murdrel. It's 13 Murdrel and 13
channelers.
Yeah, they channel they channel through the Murdrel.
Gross.
Tank.
Gross.
I mean, that's what they were doing. Sorry. Go ahead.
Wait, I don't want to ignore chat. We have a little excitement brewing in chat. A little tete-a-tete. Pamara says Varen didn't become a dark friend willingly, and then Lee Science comes down and says no, she dabbled willingly. When she got caught, she was pressured into swearing.
Like crack.
I agree with Lee Science. Yeah, I agree with Lee Science. Even during her reveal, she specifically talks about how she was looking into. She wanted to know how someone became a Black Aja, and when she was looking into it, they found her out, and she kind of had to choose to either fight and die or be like, hey, you know what? Yeah, I'll join.
not a real choice. No, I think my argument's getting more and more solidified as we talk. They use a flaw in character like greed to manipulate, and I think that is another part of this. Like, yes, like they are fuck ups. Like they're derelicts. They're bad people, but they're not necessarily like intended to be dark friends until something they encounter them. I feel like we don't hear a lot of stories about people seeking it out, like except for like Millie Skane,
except Alviarin and Leandrin
and Varen
and Sheriam.
Well, no, Varen. Okay, well, Varen. I think Varen's still debatable.
Varen's an exception to the rule.
She looked for them. She specifically went looking for them.
Was she a real dark friend though?
Yeah, she swore the oaths and everything.
I know, but she was like helping Rand out every step of the way. Like she was a double agent.
She was a double agent, absolutely. She was.
Then was she a real dark friend?
Yes, because she did horrible things that helped the Shadow.
You see her do horrible things from her POVs. When she goes and she's interviewing the Aes Sedai who swore to Rand, she used a modified version of compulsion on them, and she even said that this is going to impact them 5 years down the line, a year down the line. It's going to do something to their mind. So she was using her loopholes.
Was that to help Rand?
It was to gather information.
To help Rand. Okay, I hear you. Yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, she was still
don't get me wrong,
doing unethical things that if she was part of, still had the 3 O's bound to her, she would not have been able to do those things. So it's classic doing something wrong. Does doing a bunch of wrong things make it right?
Exactly.
Okay.
She was the loophole queen.
I think the unethical nature of these things is debatable in that she can only be doing that because she's a dark friend. Like, I think there's countless examples of unethical behavior by Aes Sedai.
Yeah,
agreed.
Using the one power specifically to harm somebody is against the 3 O's that regular Aes Sedai swear. That is one of the ones that you unswear and don't re-swear when you become a Black Aja. So she wouldn't have been able to use.
Did Moraine setting off the bond?
No.
No, that's funny.
Isn't it you're not allowed to use it as a weapon?
Yeah, weapon. So I think Ryan has a point though in that Rand, they tried to convert Rand by torturing his mom in his dreams. We don't know if this happened with Pater. We don't know if this happened with Dana or Millie Skane, and we don't know what kind of manipulation there is, but that sort of thing is, I mean, while you could say, they chose it, it was highly encouraged to force their hand. If you see your mom being bent backwards saying, God, no, God, it hurts.
I mean,
doing that.
Millie Skane murdered people when she was 15 years old.
Yeah, no, she's an outlier.
I can see them doing that to people that matter, like, people in high-ranking places and stuff, important people trying to forcefully, like, make them do favors for the Shadow and stuff like that. But for someone like Pater, like that's the type of person that's joining the Shadow willingly, or his mother. That's the type of they were nothing. They were commoners that had no standing anywhere, no power within their own social circles, and that's why they became dark friends, or probably in their mind at least. But like someone like a high-ranking royal or an official, or maybe one of the bankers or something like that, them becoming a dark friend, that I could see maybe the dark friends trying to pressure them.
All right, Reese has a good question here. Do you have to swear the oaths to be a dark friend?
I'm sure you have to swear oaths.
I think it starts off like bim, shalabim, shala, shalabim, bala.
I doubt they're magically binding, though.
What about the slaves?
Yeah, the slaves that serve the shadow for no reason. So
they're born into that shit, right?
But you guys didn't know. You guys can't remember or didn't about the talentless. The talentless are the prisoners who didn't breed true, and we hear of them being taken by the Trolloc raids, and some of them being Aiel that went on the fights. And they are assumed to be eaten. However, some of them are sent to the town and are slaves there.
Yeah, but those aren't the red-veiled Aiel with the sharpened teeth.
No, but they still serve the shadow.
But they serve the shadow, but they're captives. They're not willingly. They're captives.
They're not willingly out in the world.
They're like indentured servants, or like you said, they're slaves.
Enslaved, chattel slavery. Like that's not the same.
They're not, like willingly.
So let me ask you this. Do you remember during the last battle in A Memory of Light, where Avienda was attacked by 3 Aiel that fought for the shadow?
With red veils and sharpened teeth. They were channelers.
Only one of them was a channeler.
Only one of them channeled?
Yeah, only one of them could channel.
Is this true?
Still disagree.
Only one of them could channel. Like Catchman killed the one that could channel. The other one couldn't. There were 2 more.
Or they weren't channeling.
They couldn't. They said they couldn't channel.
They were just like, we can't channel. Or did they just not channel on screen?
They're like, they have performance anxiety. Yeah.
You can even remember when Piran was fighting them in the world of dreams with Gaul. All of those Aiel couldn't channel. Only a couple of them could.
I don't remember them fighting groups of Aiel in the world of dreams, but I only read A Memory of Light like twice or 3 times.
Okay, Gaul and Perrin went into the world of dreams. Gaul followed him there. And when Lanfear was helping them in the world of dreams, they fought Aiel that were helping Slayer. Remember, Lanfear, as Sindane, went to the town, asked Slayer to help kill Rand, and she gave them some of the talentless.
Okay.
Okay.
She says it like she gave them some of the talentless, and one of them could channel.
Someone earlier in chat said the talentless were the offspring of the red veiled Aiel after they went into the. But how are they having offspring if they're just a bunch?
Yeah, who are they banging?
They're being bred like chattel.
They bred the red veiled Aiel.
Yeah, see, Beth just they're being bred. But
that's the thing. But if you're not, you can't.
They're 2 different people. Red veiled Aiel and talentless are 2 different people.
But you can't compare people raised in that culture as being willingly dark friend because they're forced into those positions, whether they are slaves or they're born into it, and they are doing what they have to do to survive, and they don't know anything but this because this is their life.
So to point, just to put a bow on this conversation, to prove myself correct. Like so far you've talked about whole races of people who have no choice against it, and you've maybe mentioned 5 people who've chosen to be dark friends.
The town probably only has like a few hundred people in it. I don't
the
think
ratios
it's fair.
I said less than 50%. Y'all disagree with me. I think I'm right.
I mean, you can think that all you want.
We can agree to disagree on this one. Let's we'll agree to
Hey, we'll arm wrestle at WotCon.
Sounds like a plan. Beth will win.
I know. These puppet arms.
The interesting thing for the back to the origins, though, for the Dark Friends and stuff specifically, would maybe being able to see Padden Fane as somebody who is actually distilled, or however you want to say it, at Shao Ghul. Maybe that's a way we can first see Shao Ghul. Either him, the what's up?
Do you think he'll be punished? Do you think there's going to become a point where he hates the Dark One like he did in the books? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
I don't think so, because his path to what led him to be who he was in the books was because he was treated horribly by those Myrddraal and the Trollocs. He was like a dog, and they didn't listen to him, and they abused him, and he went mad because of it.
Yeah,
and he is clearly in control of his faculties here. He is.
He's cooler than school. Yeah,
I think the dagger is going to corrupt him in a different way, and he's going to think
he's going to go nuts for the dagger. Nice.
He's grander than the Dark One, because this dagger, aka Mordeth, is going to give him this. He's already very charismatic and robust. I think it's going to accentuate all of that, and it's different evil. So it's going to make him think that he's better and stronger than these puppets that I have control of.
So that to make all that make sense, so we'd have to probably see an image of him, a scene of him meeting Mordeth, a scene of him meeting Machin Shin, watching some sort of development. But I gotta admit, as we're talking about it, they are kind of Pattern Fane in the series is a little bit one-sided so far. I really hope that they bring out all of the Pattern Fane that we love, the switching accents in the middle of sentences, the madness, all of it, the frailty. Like, we've yet to see him like being that kind of beggar. Like, he's just like a cocky bad guy who's a super spy.
They need to do a lot more building of him to get him to that point. If they're gonna do that, they're gonna need to do a lot more backstory with him to get him there.
You think is the first cold open of episode 1 going to be Loyal getting saved?
No, I think the first cold open is Min.
Come on. No. Ooh, okay. Oh, okay. Min will be the first cold opener?
Yeah, that's what I think. I think Min Farshaw will be coming to Tar Valon, and she will start to see things and be like, holy shit, what's going on?
She's going to Tar Valon. Okay, that's interesting. I thought maybe she would use her talents to find Rand as he's like going AWOL. Because she did kind of say, like, he's like, she's like, I knew you were coming or something, and he walks in the bar, he said, did you know I was coming? And she said, it comes with the territory, which made me think that she, like, predicted that Rand was going to walk in the bar at that moment and ask him.
Yeah. She also asked him to move over.
Yeah, could it be that they're, like, having her be super predictive of the future in that way, and that she can just go find Rand or something like that?
Or she read.
Why would she go to Tar Valon? Like, that'd be the scariest place for her. She's afraid of those people. Like, she's.
Isn't she from Tar Valon in the series?
Yes.
No.
She's from Tar Valon, because when she was a child, she saw Tam carrying Rand in the show. Yes, in the show, she's from Tar Valon because she saw Tam in the city streets carrying Rand as a baby, and that is one of the things.
She works with the Aes Sedai, and she's been working with the Aes Sedai for a while, so it would make sense that maybe she has more friends or people that she trusts in Tar Valon within the Aes Sedai.
Contacts.
And at the Queen's Blessing.
I could see her at the Queen's Blessing.
Yeah, that's where she goes. Maybe that's where she used to run table at least in the book. She was a waitress for a little bit, but that was a tavern in the Black Hills in a mining town.
Mm-hmm.
But
I doubt she's going back there.
No, I don't think so.
I have a couple other origins. I'll toss two of them out there, and you guys say which one you think is more likely. I have one with False Dragons, the Karathian Cycle. And I have one that says the Ways and Mashadar. Machin Shin, I'm sorry.
Only if they do anything with the Ways, and I definitely think they'll have a cold open that touches on the other false dragons or just, the history of the prophecies of the dragon, but I don't think it'll be until a further season when they dive further into the dragon prophecies, unless they introduce more of the dragon prophecies in this season, which I honestly don't think they will.
Well, these origins aren't part of the show per se. They're just like the extras.
Oh, origins. I was thinking cold open.
Right.
For me, how about this? Origins. It's the Ogiers on the spaceship coming to Earth. we got Captain Kirk just standing there on the brig, like telling everyone like slowly what to do, and then they crash on Earth, and we find out how they got here.
The Ogiers were actually just Wookiees that evolved.
Whoa!
I would love to see a Matic Kumadran origin.
Of course you would.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I don't even know who that is.
Oh, that's basically he's the guy
Is that a Star Wars name?
Yeah.
No, he's the guy that wrote the book Fog and Steel that Matt pretty much follows as talisman for learning how to general. In fact, they got the king of King of Merendy made one for Telmanus in a printing press and gave it to him. It's part of Matt's memories was of Matic Kumadran. And Matt says that he probably knew everything there was to know about soldiering. So that was one of Matt's main
That's cool.
memories.
I like that.
I would love to see that. That'd be awesome. But I know it's a
I'd rather see Davram Bashir's old general that made them bury the trees because he had them cut them down.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was his last Cheetah? Yeah, the General Cheetah. That was his
he was like, we like just because he's crazy doesn't mean he's a bad military leader. He's like, I had a general who never lost a fight, but he
never even came close to me.
Yeah, he made us cut down a whole copse of trees because he said they were looking at him funny, and then he made us bury them.
We did the eulogy, and he did the eulogy. That's right.
Hey, do they grow back even more that way?
Yeah. It's fertilized.
Yeah.
Just the best force ever came out of that.
Y'all.
Beth, I can't wait to arm wrestle you.
And there is a thing called dragon fruit, Ryan. Maybe
it looks good, but it doesn't taste like anything.
It does. It tastes bland as AF. Yeah,
Breaker.
It's like tapioca.
That was definitely a reference for that. 100%.
Okay, let's exhaust our list. I have some origins I haven't talked about. I was joking about the spaceship landing, but I mean that would be just epic, whatever. But I doubt that will ever happen. I would like to see Ogiers and the first setting, the very first setting. I'd like to see it.
What does that even mean, though?
Setting
is so interesting.
The setting was always there. They couldn't find the setting.
It? Like
we don't know.
That's the question. Like that's such a deep question that we have no information on. Or the setting.
We have a little bit of information. Remember, there's this.
Oh, here comes Jensen.
They even stated it. There's a quote from I forgot which. It's the setting that makes the Ogier, not the Ogier that makes the setting. We have that quote. Remember?
Yeah, but that doesn't tell us where the setting came from.
That's like poetry, though.
No, but that means that they didn't find them. That means that they were always there for the Ogier until they lost them in the breaking of the world.
I always thought of them like they had to sing it to life. I always felt like they had to ceremonialize that place somehow. But there is that weird connection between the ways and the doors of the ways always being real close to steadings.
Well, that's only because of the male channelers making the ways while they were living in the steading, trying not to go crazy.
Yes. Okay. Good point. All right.
Who cut down the tree to make the great stump? And why do they stand on it like it's rad?
They only come down when they die.
When the tree dies, they tear it down.
They only tear it down when the tree dies.
But they can sing trees. They can.
They almost never.
But this tree still has a lifespan.
Yep. They don't live forever.
Yeah. But some of the trees in the steading were there since the Page of Legends.
Yeah. The interesting thing about the Ogier are, especially with I could see them doing some stuff with the Ogier, especially with if we see Shanshan Ogier more. because they're so vastly different from the Westlands Ogier in the sense of they never went through the longing. They don't
Do we
suffer
know that
the
for
longing.
sure?
Yeah. They
Yep.
specifically talk about that in the books, or at least in the books, they don't go through the longing. So in the Shanshin, they talk about how there wasn't as much of an upheaval in the Shanshin as there was everywhere else, so they didn't really lose the ways. And the Ogier in the Ogier gardeners don't suffer from the longing. So,
and they also have an agreement with the Empress, right? But we don't know exactly what it is. They have an agreement.
Yes, the Ogier. Yeah, they have some sort of agreement. Yeah.
Ogierment?
Breaker, the spaceship. There's a long-held theory that the Ogier are aliens from another planet or from another dimension.
Well, the Book of Transformation opens up some kind of portal for them to go to it.
Yeah. But if they're aliens from another planet, then why did the setting help them survive, and how is the setting here? There's so many really interesting questions that dive into the Ogier, and I love that they're so open to our interpretation. Like, that's one of the things that Robert Jordan always talked about. I remember seeing him at one of his signings, and they were like, you have so many storylines, how are you going to wrap them up? And he specifically said, I'm not going to wrap them all up. And
I'm going to die.
Wow.
No.
It was specifically because he likes this. He loves this discussion. So he wanted to leave stuff open so that we could still have these discussions.
I think we should have a near future show that talks about Ogier and Steadings and how are they outside of the pattern itself if the one power and the two power do not exist within the setting, what exactly they are. So I wouldn't mind digging into that more on a different show, but I think that's a fascinating thing that we just kind of say, okay, well, steadings exist and you can't channel. Okay, that's cool.
I think they're the opposite of the bubbles of evil.
Oh shit.
Well, the settings existed before the Dark One was freed, though.
Yeah, but everything in the Wheel of Time has an opposite. And
the
opposite of the bubble of evil would be a solitary place of good.
That's interesting.
I mean,
I do like
could
that
a bubble of evil happen in a steading? Yeah, we'll talk about it. Let's
put a pin in it. My question is, if you're in the ways and it goes underneath the setting, do you stop channeling?
Is there an under? They don't exist
on
the same
dimension. They never said it was a dome. They just said as soon as you enter it, you couldn't channel.
I know. I'm just wondering, like, if the waves just happen to like creep underneath, like the actual like you look up and there's a standing above you. Are you not channeling?
Phenomenon, the pattern, just like bubbles of evil are. And I think that they're the place that the Ogier found that they could exist.
That's fun.
Yeah. Did the Ogier find them or to create them? Apparently, they found them. If they
this point's pretty sick. You can't enter a setting in a dream.
Because if they could have created them, they wouldn't have had to look for them.
Okay.
Yes, they could. Yes, they did because
because
when the world broke, at the steading were scattered. The Loyal explains what the longing is and how.
Yeah, they're like,
formed.
they couldn't find them.
Yeah.
I always wondered that was because it's never really clear whether the steading themselves moved or if the ground just changed, like the topography and the geography of the terrain changed so much that they lost them.
Elder Hammond describes this in chapter 26 of Lord of Chaos when him and Gavriel and Loyal's future wife travel to meet Rand in Aerith, and they meet Rand in Tyr. Rand asks them to help him with ways. They go, with the way gates, they go to one in Shadar Logoth where they lose Laia, and during that time, Elder Hammond describes what happened, and he says exactly that some of the land was twisted, some of the sea turned into dry land, some of the dry land turned into sea, and some of the land that was far apart came together. Some of the land that was together came apart.
Yeah, but that doesn't tell us whether the physical locations of the way, like the longitude and latitude.
I know, I don't know what his exact text was, but he does mention that as well in that same chapter. I just got to remember what it was. I can't.
Well, and it was also created by all the male channelers, but they didn't work in unison. So shit was going on. I mean, this guy turned mad and made a mountain. This guy turned mad and moved an ocean. This guy turned mad. I mean, things were just in flux, I think. And suddenly where they thought they were, there was an ocean, or vice versa. You know, I think things just got fucking weird. It just became Escher, MC Escher.
Maybe we're just talking about all the way. I love this idea. Well, God damn it, we gotta.
Well, we'll
we gotta
talk
end
about
the show.
Yeah.
Are the ways like even longitudinally? Is it even relevant to talk about that in those terms? Okay, we'll get into it. I'm just taking mental notes. Yes.
Yeah, that'll be a future show.
But yeah,
Pavara, just hang out with us for another 2 weeks. We'll suss it out in a very complicated and slow way.
Pavara, I was listening to a radio describe how Dragon Mount and Tarvalon were created on the Discord to prep for WotCon, which is just this week. I'm going there on Thursday. I will be on Thursday. Ryan will be there Thursday. Beth will be there Thursday. Tom will be there Thursday. We're all going to be there Thursday. Jansen, you are not going, correct?
I'm so sorry. I wish I was.
It's Columbus, Ohio. That's like your backyard, man.
I feel lost without going. It sucks. I mean, it does suck. It's a hole in my heart right now, but I'd love to.
We'll plan it for next year. You go to Columbus. You come to Detroit. You hang out at my house for a couple days.
I'm from Cleveland, I'm from Ohio.
I know.
Cleveland rocks.
You used to dunk on LeBron before he became a pro.
Yeah.
I wish. So, by the way, guys, next week I am going to be working on Sunday at someone's house. I'm not allowed to say the name. I'll call her Willie Bylish. So I have to work at their house, so I may not be able to do it.
I mean, we're not having a show next week anyway, are we?
No. Yeah, good point.
We'll still be at
Columbus,
the convention.
But I can't wait to hear stories off camera about your Willie Bylish.
Willie Bylish. That dude's rad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but, he's a bad guy.
Yeah, bad guy.
All right, so let's wrap this up. Beth and Meat Tom, let's talk about your channels. What's coming up? Are you guys collabing? Are you?
We're gonna pew pixels in Overwatch tonight.
Yes, pew pew.
I am taking a break from Third Age. Third Age it was a difficult Third Age weekend for me this weekend. Today, I got Tom, you explain it. I can't.
I don't want you to have to relive it again. I feel so bad.
It's okay. I have disassociated.
Oh God!
Did you get your ass handed to you?
I did in the most epic way ever, and it was the worst. James, the creator of the game, said it was the best, worst fuckery he's ever seen.
Absolutely,
in the game. Ever.
Wait! The creator of the game watched your ending and then made fun of you?
Yes.
He didn't make fun of me. He was commentating the game. It was a league game, and it was streamed on YouTube, and he was commentating.
Oh, okay.
He was like, I've never seen anything like that before. He was speechless. He was rendered speechless.
You broke the game.
What happened?
You broke the creator of the game.
Wow. I got played.
Oh, yeah. He and I were just like for a good 15 minutes after that play, we were just like, oh my god, like it was so bad.
I hope if they adjust the rules that it's called the Doobie rule change, or the Beth rule change.
I'll actually I'm gonna post the link to the video in chat.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
And the thing is that we were in Discord, and if you could have heard Discord,
oh god,
when Bob did what he did, I was like, oh my God, Bob, you are such a fucking asshole.
And
I said it. I wasn't screaming, but I was like, it was 11:56 a.m. And I was like, pardon me, I need to step away for a moment. And I typed that in chat. So James and Tom knew I was going away. And I waited until 12 p.m. Central Time, and I made myself an alcoholic beverage because it was no longer the morning. And I had to drown myself in my sorrows of alcohol for the rest of the game. And I
100% called it too. When you said you were going, James was like, I wonder if she just had to get up and walk away. I was like, she's going to get a drink. She's definitely going to get a drink.
That's hilarious.
Basically, the short version of what happened was there's a card in the game that's an end game card. It allows you to take over someone's turn. It's a board game. So like during your turn, you would play it. And if we were going around in a circle right now, like if I played it on Ryan, the game would continue. That would be my turn. Brother Dan would go, Beth, Jansen. And then when it got back to Ryan to take his turn, I would instead play Ryan's turn. So that's the start of it. But then the guy essentially made Beth throw her entire hand away, like of cards that she had, which was a really good hand of cards, and then redraw the cards. But he then played when another player would redraw cards, you draw them instead. So he made Beth throw away her whole hand, and then when she went to go redraw the cards, he stole all of them. Wow. It was horrible. It was just horrible. So Beth,
did you lose your watch and wallet too?
Clearly,
you got mugged.
Clearly,
it felt like watching somebody get beat up, like jumped by like 5 people. That's what it felt like.
You got mugged.
Yeah, and then everybody was like, you should take, because the person who did that to me is like the best player of this game, like hands down.
He's really
like
good.
What he does, he's a master. It's a master class of how to play this game whenever you see him play. Wow. And everybody's like, you should take it as a compliment. He saw you, like what Waterholic just said. You were a threat, Beth. You were the biggest threat, and
that's exactly what I was going to say.
And you should take it as the highest compliment. He nuked me, like off of the planet. He will fired me. Like I was will fired.
I do be
fucked. Exactly.
Beth do be fucked. That's Beth do be fucked. We got to put some flavor text on that card.
Beth do be fucked, Dillman. Yep.
Jansen, is there anything we can look for your pretty face on our TV screen at all?
Actually, right now there is a commercial that came out about 3 weeks ago. Red Pocket Mobile. I don't know if you guys checked it out. I tried to send it to you.
I loved it. You're laughing at the yeah.
Oh yeah, and you texted
amazing.
Yeah, that's going. That's all national and international right now. So that's the newest thing I got going.
Well, I'm gonna cancel AT&T and get some.
Canadian company, I believe. So it's Red Pocket Mobile, and they've taken up all this stuff space. So you'll see me on a lot of stuff that you haven't, on a lot of apps that you haven't paid premium for.
Well, guys, if you do see Jansen, let us know in our Discord or on Twitter. Let us know. We'll be back on Tuesday for our first time reader show. We're taking Sunday off for WotCon.
Yeah, we're gonna try and stream as much as possible during WotCon. We'll figure it out. Yeah. We'll battle the tech demons. We'll try to have some fun.
Everyone hit the bell so notifications all. If we're gonna go live, we're not gonna plan it. We're just gonna guerrilla just bounce in. So that's the best way.
All right,
right.
And then Watchnary Friday night.
Monday we're starting Good Omens in the rewatch. So
there we go. Yes.
We'll be watching Good Omens with Tor author Jen Lyons.
Nice.
House of the Dragon series. Yep.
Well, excellent. What a great, I can't wait for that. Brother Dan and I will be on episode 4, maybe even KayK. We'll see.
When am I going to be on? I'm on some episode.
Well, let's do that off air. All right. Hey, let's end this bad boy. Jansen just usually got very important things to do.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Let's hit it. Love you guys. See you.
You gotta go to Will Bates' house.